There's some threes now.
Nothing we can do, I guess.
Hello. Welcome. We'll let some people join. 11 a.m. Pacific time and 2 p.m. Eastern time. Let's see. All right, couple little last minute things.
All right.
Ready?
All right, I'm ready, Doc.
All right.
All right, I had a quick thing while we're letting everybody come in, getting a bunch of people in. A couple breaking news stuff from Schefter we'll go over in a little bit. So your time in the NFL, Doc, I know you're busy too, getting ready. There's been maybe a little bit more than normal, a lot of use of the carts, not as maybe the next topic, Aircast. But wanted to talk to you about how you use carts and Aircast, because there's two situations this week: Metcalf with the cart and Geno Stone with the cast this week.
First of all, and this is our just opening segment.
Right.
Welcome to the Pro Football Doc Sports Injury Central podcast here. We'll let some people join in on the live stream side, ask questions on X and YouTube, etc. So, use of carts. You got to understand that I am not in any way, shape, or form trying to judge anyone on a medical staff or athletic trainers or what have you. I'm just trying to explain the process. I personally didn't use carts very often. And the reason why is, and admittedly, this is going to sound like back in my day, I walked 5 miles through the snow to and from school,
that's what my
uphill
dad said.
both ways. Okay,
Yep.
I get it. But I didn't like the use of carts for several reasons. There are times that it's absolutely necessary. But one time, I had a guy who go onto the field and he says, "What do you think?" And I said, "Well, we'll see. Let's just get you off. You want the cart?" He goes, "No, I don't want the cart." I said, "Well, you can tell me. What do you think I have?" I said, "I think you have a lateral tibial plateau fracture." He goes, "You can tell fractures without, you asked me."
Yeah.
And he goes, and I said, "Let's get the cart." He goes, "No, let me walk off." Okay. So it wasn't a horrible tibial plateau fracture. He used his our shoulders. He walked off. And the last time I saw him a year ago, he still thanked me and said, that ended up being my last play in the NFL. He went to a couple other training camps. He goes, "I'm glad I walked off the field." That's one reason. Soft, I get it. And we're in a health and safety era. Better safe than sorry, right? I mean, last night, the guard Newman for the Jets,
yes,
it looked scary. Like on Twitter, I was saying, we're hoping he's going to be okay. Better be safe and sorry. The guys who run out and tend to him, if he has a head injury and neck is sore, that's the right protocol. Take off the face mask, stabilize them. Better safe than sorry. It's not like you run and see the video and then see him. I'm looking at the video, right?
Right.
I'm not negative on anyone who is overprotective. Sure enough, he's fine and he flew home with the team. And that's good. That's what we want to see.
Right.
But I looked at it this way too. I actually, in my time, only took off one, and it's a different era, right? I am with you. Is in Cincinnati. We ran across the field. I won't say the player's name. He says, both my hands tingled briefly.
Yeah.
And he had neck pain. And I said, "You're in a collar, my friend," and took him off. And it was in Cincinnati. And Cincinnati at the time was the only, still pretty much is, in-stadium MRI. In stadium, not on site.
Yeah.
There's a difference. In the stadium.
Yep.
It's open to the public during the rest of the week.
Yep.
And I asked if we could fire up the MRI. They said yes. So it wasn't to get him back into the game, but it made us feel comfortable that he didn't have a significant neck injury, took him out of the collar, and he flew home with us. But also what I did was I immediately called his family, because it's very disconcerting to the people watching on TV or in the stands or family when you take someone off on a cart. I remember one time we played Dallas in a very hard-fought game against the Cowboys. DeMarcus Ware went down with a neck injury. I didn't think it was that significant of a neck injury, but look, I don't know. Why did I think that? Dallas is one of the few teams that has a spine doctor on their sideline. He got put in a collar and he never came out onto the field. So I looked at it as more precautionary, and it turned out it was precautionary. But it was a very hard-fought game, 10-10 at the time. DeMarcus Ware went out. The air went out of the defense. We scored 4 plays later and won the game 17-10. So I would never risk anyone's health. I'm good for overprotection, whatever, but it's a different era. And I'm not against anyone who gets put out on a cart, but this is why we always say what in the room, Taylor? Judge the injury.
Not the reaction.
Not the reaction.
Right.
Not the throwing. Look, when we said Deshaun Watson tore his hamstring, tore his Achilles.
Yep.
It had nothing to do with the tears or the towel over his head. It had nothing to do with people offering condolences. It had to do with the video that we showed publicly. Thank you, Adam Schefter, for retweeting it. Got a lot of play.
Yes. We operated on that very quickly as well. That was good.
Yeah, well, it was very obvious.
Yes,
We looked at, he tore his Achilles.
Yes,
Boom. That
yes.
was like
Right.
90. We go off of 95%. Sure, that was 99.9.
Yeah, that was
right?
close to 100.
I mean, as close to 100 as
Yeah,
you could. And
right.
now, unfortunately, it's been confirmed. But that's what we go on. But so let's talk about what you're talking about. DK Metcalf and Geno Stone.
DK Metcalf was the cart. Yes. Yeah.
Geno Stone was the cart and aircast.
Aircast, correct.
So
yes.
DK Metcalf cart, I looked at the video in the room that you guys showed me. I don't see a lot. And then you guys came back and said, he got carted off. Everyone's asking, what's up? I went back and looked at it again. I don't see a lot. I said, and to be honest with you guys, I said, I don't know, does he minorly tweak his left knee there? But, I don't see a lot. And then someone in the room said, no, they're saying right knee. I'm like, the right knee, it was in the air. It flailed around. I don't see a lot. Not that I'm not calling DK Metcalf a wimp at all. I'm just saying by video, we didn't see a lot. He went off on the cart. We didn't see a lot. And today he said to be minor knee issue, expecting him to be okay. And we're thrilled. So that's why we say don't judge the reaction. Geno Stone was placed in an air cast. Everyone in the media and fans said, oh, it's a fracture or dislocation. Typically, yes. We looked at the video. There was a play that had 2 safeties down.
Von Bell as well. They ran into each other. Yep.
Looked at it. He goes, I'm not seeing a lot. But Doc, he went off on an air cast in a cart.
Okay, we got to look at that then. Yeah.
Well, let's look at it again.
Yeah.
But I'm not seeing a lot. Okay. Now, I'm not saying he can't be hurt. I'm not saying he shouldn't have been on a cart. I'm not saying he shouldn't have been on an air cast. I'm not saying he's soft. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying we didn't see a lot.
Right.
And I guess he was walking around afterwards.
He's saying he has a shin injury, maybe
Shin
a contusion.
contusion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, I'm
yeah,
sure it hurt
yeah.
like crazy. I'm sure they wanted to be careful. But let me tell you a little secret of what happens there. And I don't know that this is what happened. I haven't looked at the video. Look, I can't speak any more highly about the Cincinnati Bengals medical staff. Their head athletic trainer is awesome. He was back in the day an intern in San Diego. Know him, his family. He's a top-notch, top as they get.
Yes.
Okay. And I know some of the head guys and so forth. So nothing negative. But let me tell you what happens when 2 players go down at the same time. You're used to one player going down, and the head athletic trainer and head orthopedist, head team physician goes out there, and there's sort of a protocol, and you kind of know what each other's thinking, and it's well rehearsed. When 2 players go down, the B team, not calling them bad, just there's a second crew that needs to go out that's not used to going out. And I am great if they overreact rather than underreact with an air cast.
Right.
Got no issue with it. Right. So did that happen on that play? I have no idea, but I support all of them. And this is why we just say, look at the injury, not the video. Look at the video, not the reaction. You know what I used to do when 2 went out? I would say the athletic trainer would go to whichever guy he thought first. And if there were 2, I would always go to the other guy.
Okay.
So then we had at least senior leadership on one guy and maybe senior leadership on the second
other
guy.
Okay.
Right. That's how we divided it up. Like if there were two, he would go to the first one and I'd tell him, I'm going to the other one.
Okay.
And my assistant needs to come out and help you. And his assistant needs to come out and help me to just try and triage the situation. But
I remember asking you about this because it happened 2021 September. The Ravens, was Gus Edwards tore his ACL, and then a couple plays later, Marcus Peters did, or it might be the other way around. Either way, and I was asking you, how do you do that? Because one of them, they're looking at the ACL of Edwards, while they need to also, and it was COVID too area, so there wasn't as many staff there on the field as well. So
there's at least 3 team doctors,
yeah,
at least 4 athletic trainers, and there's people,
and that's
but
at practice, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not at practice.
Okay,
at games.
Okay.
At practice, there's all the athletic trainers. The doctors are not there. For
okay. Yeah.
part.
Yeah. That one happened at practice, the Ravens one. So I thought, that's why I remember I asked you, because I thought that would be interesting. How do you do both? Look at.
Well,
both.
this is why I always say to the doctors out there, never push your athletic trainer out of the way. You want to empower them. Like, you understand, they play football when we're not there in practice. I mean, in the NFL, I would come at the end of practice with 10 minutes to go. And if there was anyone injured, they'd be waiting for me in the training room. I mean, we have our own practices and we don't have time to be there all day.
Right.
We're not employed by the team. I mean, 95% of the work we do is outside the team.
All right, just a next topic, Doc, because we talked this one a little bit. I want to jump in the rundown. I just because Belichick kind of shot back at this comment just now on the McAfee show. Jared Mayo said his team played soft and they'll get better, but he said they're playing soft right now. And Belichick said, this is the team I had last year. These are a good group of players. So it seems like a little bit of a issue. I know the one coach may be trying to fire up, but you see the other one in media now, saying his piece on stuff.
I love Media Bill.
I do too.
I mean, he said more in the last 3 months or a couple months of Media Bill than his entire career, right? Yep. It's like he's got freedom. Like in some ways, it's Tom Brady. Tom Brady and New England, the
commercials
was all buttoned up, and now he's got commercials and he's everywhere. Right? I mean,
hey, Billy, you got him on the underdog commercials now, right?
Bill, look, I love it. It's sailor on shore leave. I mean, like, from the button down on the ship to you hit the port, right? I love it, but it's message signaling. Basically, he's saying, Bill's saying, it's not good to call players soft. And these are my guys, so you're insulting me. And meanwhile, Gerard Mayo is saying, look, this is a rebuild. He said it.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, hey, you got to give me and my team a chance. This isn't my team yet. That's what he's subtly saying.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, it's not going to play well.
Do you think the message would have been better if Belichick didn't say anything?
I'm going to say the same thing.
Okay.
About Antonio Pierce.
Right, which we talked on the podcast before, yes.
As I will about Gerard Mayo. Antonio Pierce's business decision message was fine if it was at the team meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Gerard Mayo's soft is fine if it's at the team meeting. It's not fine when you're doing it to the public and media.
Right.
That's where players get upset about it. And Antonio Pierce apologized and said, I shouldn't have made that ruckus. That's the thing. Players do not like, coaches don't like it when players talk about them through the media.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know what plays we were calling. We had a bad game plan today. Coaches would not like that either.
Yeah.
Coaches would not like a player saying, we ran the plays that were called. They wouldn't like that either.
Right.
Well, there's a lot what coaches want to hear is there's a lot goes into the game plan and you guys only see a small part of it. We stand behind what we're doing and we'll do better. Right. That's what you want to hear. Now it's vanilla. It's not good sound bites, but talking through media is never good.
No.
Now, Gerard Mayo, I don't think he was trying to talk through media. He was trying to be honest, but this is where Bill's like, nah, it's not the time to be honest. And he takes it as a little bit of a shot at him and his roster, right?
And they're both former players. Do you think that's a coincidence? Like that they think this can help, active players, or is just something that they're not reading the room correctly? Or
well, two things.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, they're both head coaches without a lot of experience per se. Not that they can't do the job.
One has more college, but yeah.
Number two, as former players, they're fiery in personality.
Yes, they were.
And
they
still
let
it out.
Yeah. Yep.
Look at Dan Campbell. He's fiery, right?
Yep, mm-hmm.
He lets it out. But he's been more of a player's guy. It's manifest differently. But here's the other thing. We talked about at the beginning. What do they call it? Alex says, in radio, it's the come around or the wrap around. Here's a wrap around or whatever you call it.
Callback.
Callback.
Yes,
Thank you.
I was gonna say,
here's the callback.
Yeah. Yep.
Gerard Mayo and Antonio Pierce may have been doing what I just did in the first segment. Well, back in my day, I didn't put everyone on the cart because we evaluated with this, that, the other. Not that that's right, but I try to qualify it where you would be.
Right.
Back in their day, they would say, yeah, man, we tell each other business decisions, and this is just the way it went. Back in my day, look, you're soft. I called you out soft with it, but now you're a head coach, and things are different, and it's a media world, and sound bites travel way more if if the comment was even offhand and the word soft was used. 95% of the interview could have been, we really like the toughness of our team, but we can't play soft. And it may have been referring to a zone coverage there as opposed to player soft. And then that sound bite just goes everywhere, right? I mean,
it's the new age. Yeah.
That's all. You can't speak through the media. That's just bad policy.
All right, Doc, we'll jump into this rundown. We got a bunch of people on. Got a couple questions coming in too. Let's just start with the big quarterbacks. Let's start with Deshaun Watson. That's the easy one. We already talked about him earlier.
Look, the only thing easier than calling the Achilles on that very clear video that you guys got me that's still running around on Twitter is on exam. I mean, it's 100%. You don't need the MRI. This is why Stefanski basically hinted at it.
And on the field, you said everything.
Look, way more obvious than an ACL, not an ACL.
Yes.
And we can come back around in Rashee Rice too.
We have that on the list. Yeah. Because we're going to, next one is,
but he's done. He can't come back. Done for this season. This is going to affect Deshaun Watson more than it affects Aaron Rodgers or Kirk Cousins. And you can argue it has affected Aaron Rodgers and maybe Kirk Cousins a little bit. Why? Deshaun Watson was the run pass threat. Aaron Rodgers, okay, he ran a little bit in his time. He's
Kirk nil.
Kirk nil.
Non-existent.
This is back foot, like Kirk. Aaron was front foot. This is later in the season than Aaron. I don't know about Kirk, about the same.
Kirk was like week 10, a little later, 13 maybe.
But he's a more mobile quarterback who already has some rust on him.
He hasn't played for a while. Yeah.
I don't know the numbers, but across the last 5 years, I know he hasn't played half the games.
That's correct.
In the last 5 years, I don't know that he's played a full 16 or 17 games now in 5 years, right?
That's right.
I mean, so now there's the rust leading to age. And last year when Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles on McAfee the next day, I said, 100% he's returning. Book it. And I use the analogy that Aaron Rodgers, a quarter or half step slow, is still faster than my guy, Phillip Rivers, faster than Pat McAfee's guy, Peyton Manning, and faster than Tom Brady at 45.
Right.
Deshaun Watson, who can move some, a half step slow.
Even the Daniel Jones one, we were actually high in him because of the kind of runner he is, right?
But obviously different injury. But my point is, this is a bigger deal for Deshaun Watson. Now, I don't know what to make of the contract thing. That's for...
And that was one of the first times that an emergency quarterback was used because Dorian Thompson Robinson also left the game due to a finger injury. They said negative, so no broken, but they'll likely jump to Jameis Winston this week, I would assume.
I don't think the finger injury is bad. It's a middle finger injury. I don't know if DTR has a index finger dominant grip. I mean, every grip is thumb dominant.
But we can look
or
at
he has a middle finger dominant grip.
We did that last year with Herbert and Hurts.
If he's got a middle finger dominant grip, there's no way he's playing. But I don't think he is anyways, because you're not playing DTR, still a young guy without a whole week of practice. And Jameis Winston is going to be the starter there. And in order for the emergency quarterback to get in the game, both starters have to be.
And that was one of the first times I believe that actually occurred.
Ruled out. Yes.
Next one I'll talk about is Jaden Daniels. That's the big one. He had a rib injury, but it's more of a painful injury because it's not a rib break. It's more of a cartilage, you said, correct?
Well, actually went back and looked at it.
Okay.
It was actually the very first run. His long run.
Oh, the 46-yarder to start the game. Yes. Okay.
To start the game. And he got folded up. So this is not a rib fracture. This is why Mama says he's fine.
Yes.
And is he fine? 100% he's fine. You saw him on the sideline. Is he fine to play football? Not so fast. Obviously, he did not return to the game. No, to his credit, he stayed in the game for a little bit.
Yes. Because that was the first play of the game. Yeah.
Yes, he stayed in the game a little bit, and he, felt it a little bit, and then he ultimately came out. And remember, when he came out, the score wasn't that lopsided yet. It was obviously in the second half, the score was lopsided. And so he was out for more than injury, no more than score. He was injured, but he's not long-term. He's not surgical. He'll be fine. This is rib cartilage. We have lots of rib cartilage examples. And the painful part is torso twisting. You're not 100%, affects you throwing the ball accuracy. Justin Herbert had that at the beginning of last season. It's a combination between Justin Herbert, rib cartilage last year, and Derek Carr oblique this year. It's some missed time, maybe play with a block, but here's what's going to happen. Prediction. We're not going to see number one versus number two. We're not going to see Caleb Williams versus Jayden Daniels. If this were the Super Bowl, absolutely Jayden Daniels would play.
Is this the practice thing that we just alluded to last quarterback we just talked to? Is that?
Well, first of all, you can't shoot him up every day in practice. And he's a young quarterback.
He needs all those reps.
You really want him to play and start without practice. And you have Marcus Mariota, non-divisional game. Also, you don't want Jayden Daniels to get hurt worse, not aggravate this rib issue. I don't think his lung's going to collapse. I don't think he's going to get any internal organ damage. But if he's a half step slow, what happens if he hurts something else or gets dumped on his head? He's the real deal right now in the commodity. I mean, they're ahead of where they want to be right now, but they want him in the long run. Remember the preseason when Dan Quinn kept yelling at him, get down, get down, get down. Wouldn't it be hypocritical of Dan Quinn to say, you're not 100%, get on out there. We need you to play in this game now.
Yep.
And let me tell you something. I know Dan Quinn a little bit. I know him. I know what he's like. He could give a rat's ass if this were draft pick number one versus
you
draft
don't care about
pick
the headline.
number two.
No, yeah.
That is not his concern. He is coaching his team. He's got a capable backup in Marcus Mariota. He doesn't want to get his guy hurt worse. And I think Jayden Daniels misses this week, but I don't think it's a big bad injury. I don't think it's long-term or a big bad injury. Is it impossible for him to play? No. But when you factor this all in, etc., in some ways, it's different. Remember earlier this season, we came out and said Snoop Huntley will be the starter for Miami when not Boyle, Skylar Thompson had rib issues, right? So no. Tua's not back yet. Skylar Thompson is not going to play with a rib block, and it's time. Now, I'm not comparing Jayden Daniels, Skylar Thompson.
But it's the practice, I think, is the key.
It's the practice, but also you have Mariota, but also you got to protect the young guy. He's a half step slow in what he can do to escape pressure. It's not worried about hurting the ribs. It's, racking up your knee or rolling up on your ankle or dislocating your shoulder or getting dumped on your head, right? I mean, because you're not quite as nimble and mobile. So I think he misses this week. I think he isn't going to get put on injured reserve. Could he miss 2 weeks? Yes. Will it be 4? No. I mean, the over-under is week and a half.
Okay. When he returns, are you worried about his running more? Because Anthony Richardson just returned. He ran the ball 14. So obviously that's the way, that's both of them, right? That's the way they play. You can't take that out of their game, right?
Yeah.
So next quarterback I have is Aiden O'Connell. He suffered the thumb injury. We talked about that.
We actually got a close-up. I don't know that we posted yet. It was to the IP joint and tip.
Yep.
Those do better than the base. Hopefully avoid surgery, but he's on IR.
They said 4 to 6, but
I like 4 to 6.
Okay. You
now,
do?
4 to 6 is realistic.
Okay.
But it's Gardner Minshew for 4 to 6, at least 4.
All right. We had a question about,
and I don't care if you have a middle finger dominant grip or index finger dominant grip. Every quarterback is thumb dominant.
Mm-hmm. That is true. All right. I got a big one from one of our listeners. Let's talk about Brandon Ayuk. He was talking about, he was walking, while he was seated, his knee was kind of hanging off a little bit. He wanted to know if that changed your assessment, or what was your thoughts on the whole Ayuk situation?
Well, to rehash, and I'm not saying, how I got into this is I still remember no longer working with the Chargers, boy-girl twins at home, watching football for the first time. It was an ACL tear. Guy got up, walked off the field. The announcer said, "Oh, that looked really bad, but I think he's going to."
You don't remember who it was?
I don't remember who it was.
Yeah, gotcha.
But I go, no, he tore his ACL. He's done. And my wife said, kindly, tell it to someone who cares, and made me a Twitter account. I was like, what's Twitter? I have no idea.
I have to clip that because she said that on the Mother's Day podcast.
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Snap face,
yes,
Insta,
yep.
face, or whatever you call it. I had no idea
Yes.
what Twitter was.
Yep.
Okay. So same thing. Just because he walked off doesn't mean it's bad. Now, in the room, we remember looking at the video, the one that we posted, and then the other angle, I was told, was blocked by players. You couldn't see anything.
Mhm.
Clear right knee, clearly significant, clearly ligament tear, MCL, sprain tear, significant. We said immediately, this is IR. Could it have been ACL as well? Yes, it's on the list, but we're not trying to go multiple choice. Did we distinctively see ACL? No. I mean, did we see a worry for ACL? Yes. Distinctly see ACL? No. Right? In some ways, we called it a Rashee Rice play.
Mm-hmm.
Blocked high up on the thigh. Rashee Rice was more to the inside when Patrick Mahomes
lateral corner. Yeah.
This was to the outside. So the opposite side of Rashee Rice, but similar mechanism, hit up high, hyperextended, MCL at least. And it doesn't shock me that ACL is implicated here, and we'll have to see what happens. Obviously that would be horrible in end of season, etc. But even with the ACL MCL, this is not Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb was a true knee dislocation. Even if it's multi-ligament ACL and MCL, this is not Nick Chubb.
He had a secondary question. If it's only MCL and bone bruise, is that just 4 weeks for excuse me, for Brandon Ayuk, or
it'll be 4 weeks minimum?
Okay.
Could it be 6-8? Yes. At this point, if Ayuk comes back this season, hallelujah for the 49ers, right? Let's just hope the ACL is not the case. Now, how crazy is this world? In game, you had Jawan Jennings already out.
Correct.
Deebo Samuel sick and out. Ayuk out. So arguably, I get they've got a couple other guys, Chris Conley and the other kid,
but
the new Deebo, number 19, not the old Deebo, number 19. But Ricky Pearsall, who got shot 6 weeks ago, might have been the number 1 wide receiver.
He was, because he lined up in the slot with Jennings. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. It was good for our sick picks because we liked Kansas City.
You had a question on Deebo. Me and Doug were talking it through. So if you knew he was sick, is that someone like you need him regardless, or is that like you might have not had a roster spot because he didn't last till halftime? What would you do in your situation? I guess as if you're.
This is not grade school.
Yeah.
You don't get sent home because you might infect other people. I mean, first of all, we know, not to be political, we still have yet to have a single case of on-field COVID transmission documented. That's fact.
Even we had the Stephon Gilmore handshake, I remember people were worried about. Yep.
I mean, just saying, but that's so how transmissive when you're outdoors. Look, on buses and indoors, maybe. Okay. Teammates, certainly COVID. But anyways, Deebo is not going to get anyone else sick. I mean, here's what we used to do when there's a player sick. If they were doubled up in a hotel room when we were traveling, of course, you got to put them in their single room, their own room, right? And I don't know that anyone ever missed time. Look, first of all, let's say you're in an away game. They were at home, but still, you report to the stadium. Why? Your athletic trainer, all your doctors are there. That's like a doctor's visit. If you're sick as all get out and you need an IV and you can't get on the field at all, you still come in to the stadium because that's like your ER, your urgent care.
You're going there either way.
You're going there.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Then you IV, medication, try and do it. And he did something in the game.
Yes.
I mean, something's better than nothing. You could see they were short on wide receivers.
So he wanted to,
And how are they going to know that he just couldn't? And then in the end, he's like, I don't feel well. I can't do it. Okay, then he's out, right? But you try. Only one time did we send a guy home from illness. And, and of course I would never say who
it was. Yeah.
But
you had to do it.
Should I say this?
I don't know. You see,
okay, I got no filter here.
There you go.
There's no player identification. Suffice it to say, I won't of course, say the game. It's like, well, let's try this. Let's try this. Let's try this. The guy was very sick. All right. And we were like, here's your IV. Is it okay? He had the runs.
Okay.
And we said, okay, we can do this and do this and do this and do this. And suffice to say, the home run line is, I'm not going out on national TV and embarrassing myself when we have white pants on.
Yeah. Yep.
Got it. You
Yep.
need to go home, my friend.
That was all you need to hear. Yep.
Got it. But part of it isn't that. Part of it is he was telling us he didn't have it.
Yeah.
Right. And that probably was the excuse.
But he didn't have the strength.
He didn't want to say, I don't
Yeah.
have it, because
Yep.
that's too much of an ego thing. I don't have it. He said it in a way where it's like, I got it.
Yeah.
You can't play.
You're understanding what's going on.
I understand what's happening. But that's literally the quote, but here's what it is.
All right. So one we already saw Schefter talk about. So Tyler Huntley suffered shoulder. You would believe AC joint. Yeah. Your thoughts? Who the next quarterback for Miami is going to be? Is it a book it? I think it's a book it situation. Yeah, it's a book it situation.
I mean, how crazy is that we're saying book it? Look, no, he hasn't been cleared yet. Doug in the room said, "You find it strange that he hasn't been cleared yet? It's all this time." I said, "No, not at all. It's normal. He has to still be in concussion protocol. Why? You can't get out of the concussion protocol until you've had a full practice.
Mm-hmm.
That hasn't happened yet. In his case, I'll make you this prediction. Tua isn't going to get cleared till Friday or Saturday, because they're going to want 3 full practices, right? Because extra care. And yes, he's going to wear a guardian cap, I believe. And but he'll be cleared to play. So the new quarterback for the Miami Dolphins this week is Tua Tagovailoa.
There you go. Should look at that next year.
I hope it is, because that means at least he doesn't have long-term issues. It's his personal choice to return to play. And I wouldn't fault him if he said, I don't want to play anymore.
Devil's advocate, Tyler Huntley, he would need an injection to play through. Skylar's still dealing with his issue as well. So, I mean, that would be a little bit of an issue if no one's able to play on that side.
Skylar should be.
He has a new injury now too. He has a knee. Yeah. So.
Oh, okay. Tim Boyle.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if they want to do that. Next one, I had a question about David Montgomery. He suffered a knee injury in the game. He did return. Question for you is it something they should be concerned about in fantasy, or he's fine? He didn't look great coming back in. Gibbs took
I love
over.
all these fantasy questions. In isolation,
you're the fantasy expert.
Do you understand that I'm not a fantasy expert? I'm an injury expert.
Yes.
Okay. It all depends. Look, if you wanted to, in my one sleeper league, I can't do trades, but if you wanted to trade me
you can't do
right now, I'll trade you
anything.
CMC for David Montgomery this week.
Yes. We just need roster spots for a week to week basis. Yeah.
It is. Look, it all depends on who you have. Is this injury enough that you should trade David Montgomery? No. Will this affect him this next week? Maybe, but he came back in the game, maybe not fully effective. We didn't see any real injury. He's hurt, more contusion, slight possibility of mild PCL, but we don't see it. I think he's fine, but it didn't surprise us that Gibbs got the bulk of the carries after that.
And that might be the case next week. So it might be more Montgomery loses touches.
But I mean, David Montgomery for next week depends who else you have. If you've got Derrick Henry in the mix,
then you should do that. Yeah.
Do that. I mean, if you got DeAndre Swift in the mix, I probably would do that. But depends on who you have in the mix. You have Jonathan Taylor in the mix. I might still do David Montgomery.
Well, I'll go do something else, but let's do Taylor because if something just came out. Steichen said Taylor will practice this week. Your thoughts on his availability this week?
This is the first realistic week. Okay, so he's going to practice this week. Now it's how does his ankle respond and how will he look? And if he plays, is he getting 10 carries or 20 carries? I would say I lean towards him playing and getting closer to 10 carries this week.
I will say the last one that had that type injury was Joe Mixon. He's looked amazing since he's got that high ankle injury.
Yeah, but he also missed like 4 weeks, didn't he?
He did, yes. So maybe a week early. Yeah, this is 4 weeks.
Yeah, I think Joe Mixon missed like 4 weeks.
Yes. So next one I want to talk to you about. It's becoming an issue. I know that the Bengals are playing well of late, but Orlando Brown went down with a right knee injury. We talked about this in preseason all the time, right?
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, I'll
Trying
do
to
it.
say-
I will credit you. It's your
No,
headline.
it's all of
in
us.
in the preseason injury preview, we had worries about the health, age, otherwise of the Bengals left tackle and right tackle. And Taylor here, full credit to him,
Trying to give
the
both of us.
headline was, "What can Brown do for you?" Take off of the UPS commercial,
Mhm.
because it was Trent Brown at right tackle and Orlando Brown at left tackle. Trent Brown
Already halfway off. Yeah.
tore his patella tendon,
Hmm.
done for the season at right tackle. Now Orlando Brown with a calf, not done for the season, but done for a little while. I haven't seen any IR yet. That's not impossible, but he's going to miss some time. So that's going to be big for the Bengals and Joe Burrow as they try and continue their comeback from a slow start.
For the Thursday game, your quick thoughts on Cooper Kupp and his availability.
Well, Cooper Kupp didn't play yesterday. This is Monday, 11:30, I guess, something like that.
So Thursday night
Pacific
game. Yeah.
Thursday night game. McVay said he's playing. Okay. But leading into week 7, we're like, I don't see him playing. Oh, but he's out there. He looks good. Yeah, he looks good if I'm trying to cover him. He doesn't look that good. He didn't look that crisp on his routes. And I don't think Thursday gives him enough time to be 100%. Is he good enough to play? Obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Is he Cooper Kupp? I don't think so. Right? There's a difference between playing and being fully healthy. I think Cooper Kupp is clearly playing, but I'm not sure he's fully healthy yet.
We had two people that probably two low 6 scores according to our fantasy players. Nick Chubb returned last week. Jerome Ford is still out with his hamstring injury. 11 carries, 22. That's kind of what we thought. Yes, he got a touchdown. Yes. That's key. Yes, he had that emotional lift there. But I mean, just from a realist standpoint, yeah.
This is one of the easiest prop plays you had all week. Under yards.
I remember calling you. I was like, Doc, what's the number? You're like, I don't know if it matters.
Can't be too low.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm surprised he got 11 carries.
Yeah.
I thought it would be less than 10.
Well, they had no Ford, so that's what I was worried about. They might just like force him into a role. But
look, first of all, let me make Nick Chubb a nomination for Beast of the Week. That was a true knee dislocation. He's beat the timeline back. He came back in week 7. Kudos to Nick Chubb. Unbelievable. But there's no way he is Nick Chubb of old. We said 80% would be great. We still have a very low 6 score on him.
Right.
Was it blocking scheme? Was it this? Was it that? Maybe. He didn't look explosive. 11 carries, 22 yards.
49 6 score. Yeah.
Jerome Ford out. And quite honestly, I hate to say this, Nick Chubb needed this personally. Cleveland needed a feel-good story. They gave him a feel-good story. Great to see Nick Chubb back. He's still not Nick Chubb yet. But this gives you much better hope that he might get closer to that. The fact that he returns to the NFL is a testament of his hard work and how great he is. Period. End discussion. Beast of the Week nomination.
Absolutely.
Not trying to denigrate him in any way, but
it's just hard to come back from that.
11 carries, 22 yards.
Yes.
22 yards doesn't surprise me. 11 touches surprised me. I didn't think he'd even get that much.
Yeah, he had longest run was 5 yards. Yeah, he couldn't get past 5. It was just
who knows? I mean, scheme, blocking, and I can say it's all on him. But he made it back to the NFL, which is a very high standard. Congratulations.
Next one was TJ Hawkinson. He had a low score. His window's open. This is the first chance he can play. They've been, rolling him out, but
I don't think so.
You don't think
I don't think so.
He had the ACL plus, right? It was,
yes, but the perfect timing. You get 3 weeks of a practice window.
Mm-hmm.
In a perfect world, you want to come back right at 3 weeks after the 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. Then you get maximum ramp up time. But you don't want to push it too long. But you need a 4th week, and you have to be activated and cost a roster spot.
Right.
And you also ideally don't want to come back the first week because then you could have had better ramp up. Here's why I don't think he plays this week. Who do the Vikings play next week? They play the Rams this week. Who do they play next week?
Let's see here. So you got week 9 for the Vikings, and they will play
the
Colts. They play the Colts.
So it doesn't really matter per se, but here's what I would say. Because they play on, he didn't get activated for Sunday, which was the first week.
Mm-hmm.
The second week, it's a Thursday game.
What's changed in those, couple days? Yeah.
What's changed in 4 days that all of a sudden he can? And I think he gets activated for the Colts. And even then, there's still a ramp up for him
Right.
before he gets to be TJ Hawkinson.
That's why you didn't fall in love with the Deron Bland full practice in his first week, and he ended up not playing the first week because
He wasn't even activated.
Yes,
whatever,
exactly.
Whatever.
One I had to the wide receiver and maybe offensive situation will improve for the Saints. They will get maybe Olave back from his concussion. Shaheed is out with the meniscus.
He's out for the year.
Yep.
Olave, look,
he has the history though. Concussion. Yeah, he has the history. Yep.
Maybe they'll be careful, but I mean, I think there's a good chance he'll be back. Hopefully he will, right? We want him to clear concussion protocol.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you something. Don't sleep on Derek Carr. Rattler has a mild hip pointer, not as bad as Anthony Richardson. I don't see him playing.
You didn't fall in love with the Jake Haener drive at the end for a touchdown?
Here's what I said all along.
Yep.
Spencer Rattler. He didn't beat out Jake Haener in the preseason and training camp. What made them all of a sudden elevate him? He wasn't getting a lot of reps.
Right.
Now he's got to run for 2 games. Now he's got a sore hip, not 100% again. Last thing you want to do is play a rookie, not 100%. Haener did have the last drive. It's going to be Carr or Haener, but I think Carr comes in on a shiny white horse to the rescue this week.
We thought he was Thursday. It was close.
It's just
yeah,
Thursday too close to a turnaround. But he still will beat the initial 4-week estimate if he comes back this next week.
Which is what we thought all along. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
One we want to talk about is just one of the we get a hiding behind health like 4 or 5 of them a year. You had the Will Levis one last week. It didn't help them, but Mason Rudolph did start.
I would argue we get more than that.
Yeah. Actually, you might be right. Yeah. Just being safe with that number. Yeah.
But look, for all the Tennessee Titans criticism, he said he was okay, but he wasn't. Was he lying? Will Levis? Did he get hurt worse? Brian Callahan's an idiot. No.
He worded it perfectly, like you said. Yeah.
Hiding behind health. And it's not nefarious. What he's saying is, Will Levis is our starter. He meant that.
100%. Yeah.
We said that against Miami that Will Levis could have come back into the game.
Yep.
But the coach is like, no, let's give Mason Rudolph a run here. Your shoulder is hurt. It is throwing shoulder. Let's evaluate it. And he also threw a bad first pick, early pick. But anyways, then he's like healthy enough. So he goes back into the game. Week 6.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't play that well. His shoulder is still hurt. Hiding behind health, but his shoulder's hurt, so we're going to start Mason Rudolph. I'm not benching you.
Exactly. Yep.
Right? We saw it last year. Remember Bryce Young early in the season had an ankle injury. So yeah, he's got an ankle injury. He could play through, but they don't want to. He's a smaller guy. He relies on his
It wasn't a high ankle, right? It was just a normal
ankle. Yeah, he could have played through, but he relies on his feet. He's a smaller guy. We don't want to get him hurt. We don't want to shatter his confidence. We're not benching him. He was our first round top draft pick, first pick in the draft. No, he's injured, so hiding behind health a little bit.
Yes.
We talked about it a bunch. If you go back historically, we called out Sean McVay for hiding behind health on Jared Goff's thumb in that playoff game when he didn't start. And sure enough, what happened? That offseason, he got traded to Detroit. Mm-hmm. We said hiding behind health. He's fallen out of favor. Yep. He could have played with that thumb. But because he wasn't practicing all week, he became a coach's decision.
I had a quick question from YouTube about the offensive lineman for the Jets, Elijah Vera Tucker. We didn't see much. We're going to go back and get more details in video, but he left with an ankle injury. He said past issues before.
Yeah, we got to investigate that a little more, but that just adds to the Jets' issues, huh? But we'll try and look at. Follow Sports Injury Central or sicscore.com or go to the website and type in Elijah Vera Tucker tomorrow or something. We'll have some stuff. Okay.
Just want to just quick add sick picks continue to roll, Doc. We did very well again this week.
You guys told me 10-3 against the spread.
Yes. Yep.
And
that was
at 61% on the
season. Yes. Yeah.
Against the spread.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys been doing a lot of closing lines, right?
Yes.
You guys haven't put in as
early releases as much. Yeah. No, definitely.
So that's even harder closing line.
It's harder to do and get a good number. Yeah. So no, we've been doing good on that. We're going to do basketball starting this week. We've been doing hockey, college football. So all the sports are coming together, right? The equinox is coming when they all play in one day.
You mean Christmas for
yes,
you.
Taylor's favorite day. Yes.
The equinox is your Christmas.
Yes. So you had the Chubb Beast of the Week. I had one Patrick Mahomes run versus Malik Mustafa. You want to break down the video and what you saw there? Also, Mahomes said he was a little heavy. That's why they both kind of Twitter kind of went back and forth playfully. Him and Mustafa.
Look, Mustafa is like DK Metcalf.
He's Adonis, he said, yeah, when Metcalf first came in. Yeah.
And boy, was he bringing the wood.
He was hitting people all left and right all game. Yeah, Mustafa. Yes.
I mean, it was great video, right? Patrick Mahomes with that long whoop, fake run, and then quarterback draw, Mustafa, and he collide and he knocks Mustafa over.
He met him at the goal line. Yep. Yeah.
Look, I look at it this way. I'm glad they're being playful about it. There's no way that anyone believes Mustafa, if he were full coming in, wouldn't clean.
9 out of 10 times, I'm sure Mahomes might be losing. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Let me tell you what happened there. First of all, Mustafa was on a little bit of an angle.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, when they collided, Mahomes had already scored. And Patrick Mahomes owes him a Christmas card. He might need to tap on number 87 and say some front row Taylor Swift tickets for Mustafa's. I don't know if he's got kids or a girl. I mean, whatever. I'm just joking around there. But he should issue him a thank you card. If there's like times when you criticize guys and fine him, he should send him a gift basket.
Right.
Like he saw the Mahomes had just scored and didn't want the penalty and was being kind and eased up. Whereas Patrick Mahomes was like, oh my gosh, he's coming. Yep. Boom, right? Yep. Lowered the thing.
Yep.
So this is time for you to tell my Troy Polamalu story.
Yes.
I've told it before.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a freaking doctor on the sideline. Troy Polamalu is a beast. Troy Polamalu came to the sideline once really fast, and I was close enough to bench. I had no more room to move, and I was like, oh, he's going to truck me here. I mean, I was 8 yards deep into the bench area. He is going to truck me here, and I better get ready. So I put out my arm and just really to brace myself because I had nowhere else to go, thinking I'm going to get knocked pretty well. Instead, being the superb athlete that he is, he stops on a dime in one step and turns away. Meanwhile, I'm like bracing myself.
Yeah.
And I basically kind of inadvertently give him a forearm shiver.
A little shiver,
right?
Yep,
I was just protecting myself. I was like, and he looked at me like, what are you doing, dude? Like, I was like, I didn't mean it.
Preemptive, yeah.
And the next day, the team saw it in film and they all high-fived me. Oh, you forearm shiver. And like, that's the Patrick Mahomes. I was like, here comes the guy. He's going to get me. I got to get ready. And I ended up delivering a mini little blow.
Yeah.
Same with Mahomes. Like, I got to get ready because I'm going to get hit. Meanwhile, the other guy just pulled off and he got knocked back. So it's a nice little Beast of the Week story.
His meme was funny. He's like, oh, I'm going to get cooked here because he knew what he did. But by the video, like Mustafa said that, but by the video, it looks like he's getting trucked, right? So he's waiting for this, all this stuff from Twitter.
First of all, you want to look at film of the game? He trucked like seven different people. Oh my gosh, that guy is. They're all legal tackles.
Yes, I mean, he's making up for the Hufanga injury. He looks real good. Yeah,
Hufanga might not be with the team next year. This guy took his job.
Good. Yeah.
I mean, anyways, so all props to Mustafa and Patrick Mahomes on that. That's a good beast one. The beast also might be the ball against the San Francisco kicker. I mean, that onside kick.
Your idea, the Charlie Brown. Yeah,
I mean, I wanted the guys in the room. I'm glad we didn't because I don't want to make fun of the kicker. But I mean, honestly, I kind of wanted.
It was a punter, I believe, too. Yeah,
it was the punter, whoever it was. Like, hide his face, put a Charlie Brown head on him, and have him kick the ball and say, "Where's Lucy?" Right? And he basically missed the ball. Right? On that.
Put a little. Only English was on that ball. Yeah.
But you know who the Beast of the Week I'll give it to? Some good candidates. Nick Chubb. Achievement award, this, that. I'll give it to Mike Tomlin.
Yeah.
All the criticism he got. What are you doing? Russell Wilson. Then after the game, his comment was just, now this is the kind of beast coaching comment that I can get behind.
Correct.
The soft, the business decision. No, he's like, look, he says, you made that challenging decision, whatever the question was. Bold decision.
Yeah. Yep.
That's why they pay me a lot of money.
Yep. He's like, that's why I'm compensated the way I am.
Drop.
Yep.
Mic drop right there. I'll say that is a beast.
He said, I know what I'm doing very in the most professional, nicest way possible. Yep.
Yeah.
Beast mode for sure.
That was a mic drop. I'll say that's a beast comment right there.
Absolutely.
All right. Any other questions? We're good here?
We're wrapping up, Doc. I think, just subscribe, like everything. Yep.
Yeah, and I think I'm doing some hits with the Believe people this week, and
A lot
I'll
of
have the
injuries this
Twitter
week.
shorts
Yeah.
on.
Yep.
You know what? It's just that when they happen to quarterbacks,
Yep. We had 4 quarterbacks this week, so that's when people
all
start
of a sudden
going, yep.
becomes a lot. You
Yep.
know, except we had this week's really no different than any other week. It's just more to quarterbacks and into Ayuk. Right?
Ayuk for Sheed. Yeah, they all like kind of weeks kind of blend in. Yeah, they get the big
Yeah.
names and stuff. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Follow along here. Pro Football Doc Sports News Central podcast on Believe and otherwise. And I think we're liking this early appointment time so people can
Yes.
get information out, and it's still on the regular pods. But also, I think what's been going well is the pregame injury chats.
Yep.
I think that's. I'm trying to do them exactly the same time, like an hour before, but it's plus minus, right? I mean, depending on the different games and home life and whatever. But the halftime still got that going and the whole deal. And congratulations, you guys are rolling. 61% is pretty good. I'm sure you'll have another great offer this week. 10-3 against the spread this week.
And like you said, closing line. Yeah, it's been pretty good.
Closing line, yeah. Well, keep it rolling. And even the prop plays, a couple of injury-based prop plays.
Last 3 weeks we've been doing really well. Yeah, so yeah, keep it up.
All right, thanks much. And there's basketball, there's baseball, there's even hockey.
You get your hockey videos, yes.
All right, thank you.